Alright, welcome back to episode 10 of the Tile Megabase. I'm back from my holidays, well rested and I was spent 2 weeks offline, which was very nice. So now I can get back on the screen. I'm right where I left off. Well, geographically, I did play quite a bit yesterday, I think. But yeah, I'm gonna go through what I did. First thing, so there's two problems that need fixing. One is the rocket fuel production, which was still infinite. I mean, the rocket fuel production for trains, not for rockets. And the second one was power in general, and both of these have been fixed. The first one, the rocket fuel one, was, well, very, very easy. I just took a look at this belt here, which I'm all the way to the right. So the draw I can see here on the rocket fuel belt is the net rocket fuel consumption of all my trains. Because I mean most of the rocket fuel that they load up will get recycled when they get deconstructed, and the draw that I can see here is basically the net usage of rocket fuel, and you can see it's really not that much. I mean, I'm using, if the thing is running properly here, this is almost using half a belt of rocket fuel, half a blue belt. So, well, not quite, but I'm using like 16.667 and 22 would be half a belt. So it's on the order of half a belt. And if you look at the bottom belt here, you can see it's pretty much still 90% of the time. So I'd say I'm using less than a tenth of a half belt, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just figured by eyeballing this, I should be able to just take a little bit of rocket fuel, put it on here and be fine with it. And as it seems, it's not a problem at all. So I have left this running for something like close to 10 hours, I think, just to see how a few things behave long term. And the rocket fuel consumption does not seem to be an issue at all. So yeah, this is the first fix. If I notice that rocket fuel starts to run out, I can do a few things, maybe increase the rocket fuel production a little bit, because I have a little bit too much light oil. And yeah, I think I can just squeeze this out without any effort. So yeah, as I said, this seems to be working perfectly. So the first so-called issue isn't really an issue at all. The second issue has been fixed as well, and that's nuclear power. But disclaimer, I have been cheating quite a bit, so I'm basically using the Pump Anywhere mod without using the Pump Anywhere mod. So I'm just digging water holes wherever I need them. Well, I guess I'm using the water fill mod then. So yeah, I've made things a little easy for myself here. So I'm at the very left of the base, of the former base. So if I turn on the train station things, this is the end of my train line here. And I'm not sure why, but I thought, okay, this room should be enough to make the sulfuric acid that I need. The room between the train loading station and the first iron deposit here. And I just squeezed 2 more iron miners on here, and yeah, made a tiny little iron smelting facility here and a tiny little oil pumping and water pumping facility to make some sulfuric acid. And well, both the iron and the sulfuric acid get sent on through this station here, and the acid is used for uranium mining here. And I'm mining one blue belt of uranium ore, which I'm pretty sure should be enough for everything that I'm planning. And then I'm refining this, of course. This is doing a little bit more. I think one of these is usually idle, but yeah. This whole uranium thing was pretty much eyeballed. And I've way overbuilt the Covarex enrichment for some reason. I thought I'd need a lot more than I actually need. So yeah, well, they're all running now, but you can see most of them are already stuck here. I'm swimming in the good uranium type. I've actually been thinking about replacing the whole, like, making nuclear fuel for my trains, but that would be very, very wasteful, and I don't really know if I want to do this. It would be wasteful because the way these trains work is when they get deconstructed, the fuel that they're currently using, so there's already always one fuel rod or whatever that is currently being used, and that one will just be lost when the train gets deconstructed. So if I have rocket fuel, which is 100 megajoules, I'm gonna use, well, the maximum I can use is basically 100 megajoules. If I just started using a new rocket fuel thing and then the train gets deconstructed, I'm gonna use 100 megajoules. And of course, if I use this, I'm gonna use 2.21 gigajoules. So yeah, this is gonna waste a lot more, and I'm not sure if this is really feasible, especially because I would need to, well, that probably wouldn't be a problem. I'd need to get the overflow of this and get it into a train station. I might have to do some pushing around here. But the more important thing is I would have to change every single train station that I have, and I really don't feel like doing this because the in stations have, or even the trains I'd need to change. Oh no, I'm not gonna do that, because this would mean having to place every one of these blueprints, changing the train schedule and redoing the blueprint. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. And well, the in stations need this, and the out stations, I'm not gonna go there, but I have a filtered storage chest for rocket fuel, and I'd need to change that for nuclear fuel, and yeah, no nuclear fuel. I just decided that's not gonna happen. Okay, where was I? Yeah, lots and lots of Kovarex, and then this tiny little fuel cell production here, which has filled up by now. And then this is a little bit overkill as well, I think. But yeah, better safe than sorry. The, what's it called, reprocessing. And then there's, well, a few nuclear reactors. You can see I have a production capacity of 10 gigawatts. I'm usually hovering around 8.5, but I thought I'd better be sure. Let's see, yeah, it's between 7.5 and 8.8 or something. So I decided 10, and I'm on the safe side. And this is what the nuclear power plants look like. I can't, well, this should be the middle here. So this is one of them. Yeah, I got one steam turbine too many here, but it consists of 4 reactors and 40 heat exchangers and 70 steam turbines. The way, in case you're not aware, the way this works with the neighbor bonus is you count the number of edges, of shared edges here, which is 1, 2, 3 shared edges between those. And then you double this, which gives you 6, and then you add the number of reactors, which gives you 10. So you have a 10 in mind, and then you multiply this by 4 to get the necessary number of heat exchangers. This is how, for a random, say I have, I don't know, something here and here, or it's like some random configuration of reactors, you can calculate the number of heat exchangers you need. And then you I always multiply it by 1.75. I think it's actually 1.718 or something. So I have a little bit too many steam turbines here. So I have seven steam turbines for 4 heat exchangers, which gives me 1.75 ratio. And this means every one of these blocks, I can't see, this should be the end. Yeah, maybe this can produce 400 megawatts. So yeah, I have 25 of those. I'm not gonna go through all of those. I can just show it's massive. And yeah, this is the last one. And I have a shared belt here that just loops around. And yeah, this was a bit, yeah, I could have switched lanes here and used short inserters, but I had a little bit different design in the beginning, and yeah, then I decided I didn't want to go through the effort and change everything, so I used it like this. So this is taking full fuel cells from the inner side and outputting empty fuel cells on the outer side here. And this just goes all the way around. As I said, there's lots of power plants. And yeah, then the leftover fuel gets put back on this belt, and the belt only gets filled more when there's gaps, and the empty fuel cells go in here. Yeah, I switched on quite a few power plants at the same time, which is why there's waves of empty fuel cells coming in. I wouldn't really need these 6 centrifuges here to deal with it. I think 4 would be more than enough, but yeah, doesn't matter. And they run occasionally. You can see even the last one has done like 129 because there's these bursts of empty fuel cells coming in. And you can see I've gotten rid of the infinite power usage thing here. I left it in place for a while in case something went wrong, but yeah, I decided nothing would go wrong here anymore. So power is sorted. I know that it's a bit cheesy to just use the water thing here. I just can't. Well, it's 100 nuclear reactors and 1,000 heat exchangers, and there's no possible way I can provide the water in some non-cheesy fashion here. I mean, the alternative would have been to build endless solar power, just, I don't know, kilometers, real life kilometers of solar power, which would have been very boring and very, like, not interesting. I mean, this isn't the most interesting design here, but I do kind of like the way this looks, and it was fun to figure out. And yeah, I don't mind cheating if it doesn't make it more easy, but rather more interesting than the obvious way. I mean, can probably compare this to the way I handled the rocket silos. You could probably say, well, you're cheating, you're using an extra mod to cover this distance, and you're absolutely right about that, but the alternative would just be to have robots. And that wouldn't be cheating, but that would be boring as hell. And I definitely prefer this way here. Okay, a little bit of a ramble. Now, okay, those were the 2 problems that I had on my list that needed fixing. Other than that, what needs fixing is the train system. If I can fix things there, let's see how it is at the moment. Well, of course it's good now, but I did record a few time lapses yesterday, and I might attach them, or one of them. This here is the bottleneck of everything, because to the left there's all the ore in stations, and then there's the oil and water stations here. I'm curious, it might have resolved itself now, because I'd been waiting for hours for this to kind of even out, and I was hoping that it would work then. The problem with this, there's lots and lots of trains coming in. You can't really, well, it doesn't look too bad at the moment, but this is the point in the base where the highest number of trains is active, simply because all the ore, like for every ore train here, say copper ore train, which can hold 8,000, this is going to get turned into a copper plate train, which can hold twice that. Meaning, well, I mean, I have the productivity bonus and stuff, but roughly every 2 ore trains will turn into 1 plate train, and this goes for almost all or I guess all things. There's a few exceptions for recipes that turn into, say, I'm not sure, rocket fuel is probably an exception, where every light oil train might turn into more than 1 rocket fuel. Well, I'm not sure. Anyway, the general rule of thumb is you're gonna need more trains the lower tier your resources are. So this is just the place in my base where the most trains want to pass through, and at the same time it's the highest density of in stations here. So there's 5 very active in stations. Very active simply because, well, I need a lot of water and a lot of oil, and as I went through before, train capacities are a bit worse for fluid trains than for regular trains, or train station capacities especially. So these are fairly active usually. And then this stone station here is pretty active as well, because if there's a train ready here, it's always going to have a shorter path to where it wants to go than from this station, which means that this train will always get the priority if both of them are waiting. You can see it's trying to start here. So yeah, there's a lot of trains wanting to start from this point, while also a lot of trains want to pass through here, and that's kind of a problematic configuration, as you're gonna see in the time lapses, or yeah, you might see it here as well. There's usually a jam every now and then. What I try to do to fix this is always give trains coming through the priority, because otherwise every time a train here starts, it's gonna slow down trains coming in, and this is gonna backlog here. So what I did is block this signal here if it doesn't receive 3 green signals. By the way, might be confusing. I think this is the only thing. So everything else, if you hook up a wire to an inserter, say, it has an enabled condition. So it has a condition when it's like, if whatever you put in here is a condition for when it has to activate. And this basically goes for everything. If you hook up belts or like pumps, or everything has an enabling condition. Rail signals have a close condition, which is a bit poorly designed if you ask me. They could have an open condition, but well, maybe their function is to close, I don't know. So anyway, this closes when it doesn't receive 3 green signals, and these green signals come from this one, and this one. So whenever a train's on any of these segments here, this is not going to be allowed to start. And of course this can lead, well, there's a bit more traffic now, but things still seem to be running okay. I'm a bit scared because I had some incidents yesterday where there were so many trains coming through here that I was simply not getting any more water and oil trains out of this. Because the second there was a gap, this stone train started, and then there were just more or less no gaps for these fluid trains to start. And yeah, that would be bad, of course. So yeah, I'll have to probably watch this a little more and see if this works now, but it seems like it has caught up. My hope was once the backlog was solved here and there wasn't so many trains waiting to come in, there should be sufficient gaps to allow for fluid trains. Otherwise, I think the most painless alternative would be to reshuffle a little bit, to say grab this part and rearrange it so that maybe there's a fluid station here, then the stone thing, then another fluid station, then another stone thing. So just to have a little more space for trains in the middle, because these five very active in stations can lead to problems. But I'm carefully optimistic now that it has actually solved itself. Yeah, I think this is more or less what I did yesterday. As I said, it's probably going to be a bit dull because this is going to take a lot of time to just leave running, see if there's any problems occurring. Maybe I'll just show the science graph real quick. The 1 hour one. Yeah, I was running out of what was it, white science. I'm slowly catching back up again, but it doesn't seem to have stabilized yet. The reason I was running out of white signs was because I was missing, well, first I was running out of iron, which I couldn't understand at all until I figured that I forgot one of these blueprints here. And was it iron? No, it was iron ore actually. So I forgot one of these blueprints here, and there was just one station that wasn't working at all, which of course led to too little iron ore, which led to too little iron plates, which led to too little steel, and so on. So this takes hours to propagate through the base. So tiny mistake here, which I didn't notice, yeah, led to things running out 20 hours later. There's a little jam here. Why is that? Yeah, so this is gonna well, if I'm unlucky and there's too many, yeah, it looks like it's gonna lead, like the traffic jam is gonna go further and further back and sit in here. And then these trains want to start. Yeah, this is, okay, I think I'm just gonna record this real quick. Let's see. Well, maybe it's not worth it. I have plenty of time lapses of this that I can add in the end. Okay, this might have to do with this station here. What can happen occasionally is that there's three trains coming into one of these stations more or less at the same time, and if there's three trains at the same time, it just takes a little time to unload, and then yeah, this can lead to jams. And if you have a jam for like 10 seconds on here, this can lead to a jam of like 5 minutes on here if there's too many trains coming in. So now you can see it's slowly propagating backwards, but I think the number of trains that's coming in is okay in that it resolves itself more quickly than it piles on. So it's not running perfectly yet, and I might have to do some more shenanigans with like making sure that this station doesn't order 3 trains at the same time, stuff like that. But I think I'm fairly optimistic that I can still keep up with 1,000 signs per minute, and that's the most important thing. Yeah, it looks a bit messy, but let's see yellow signs, for example. It's a flat 1,000 signs per minute production in the last 10 hours. Red, when red dips, it's only because it's full, because red is so easy to produce. Red is the leftmost of the sciences, so if there's any available iron and copper, red is going to be produced. So if there's dips here, it's always going to be due to it running full. Same with green, and you can see they're basically in sync because I built them together and I consume them together, so they're just going to be yeah, basically in sync all the time. I think the only problematic one is white signs. You can see this drop here, which is, I never finished that sentence, I'm sorry. The same thing I did with iron ore, where I forgot one of these trains, or one of these blueprints, I did with red circuits. So I think I have like 3 different red circuit ones. It's really hard to know where things are because everything looks the same. So it's 1, 2, 3 red circuit in stations, and I just didn't have a train on one of these, which meant, yeah, I was only producing 2/3 of my red circuits, which of course led to disaster 5 hours later or 20 hours later or something. But this has been fixed, and I think white signs should be keeping up since then. Yeah, this has only been fixed, you can see, like 35 minutes ago. But before that, white signs was keeping up. These dips here are from when satellites didn't make it, because, well, filling up with satellites just takes a little time, and I'm not making a lot more satellites than I need, which means, yeah, you can see the train is kind of almost full. And how many are there still? Yeah, there's still a few satellites on here, but they might run out for a tiny amount of time before the train comes in again. this is gonna even itself out probably in like 24 more hours or something like that. But yeah, this, I mean, I'm probably just gonna leave this running for say another day or two and come in every now and then and see if something runs out. Here you can see rocket control units are running out. That's probably still due to the, yeah, there's more coming in. This is probably still due to the red circuit thing that had been running out. But I think I'm kind of on track to get this to stability if the train system doesn't completely collapse. So this is my biggest fear, because there's only so much I can do about problems like these here. I can, as I said, spread out these stations a little more, but I am going to have a lot of trains coming through on the same rail. And yeah, as I said, there's not too much I can do about that. But I think it should be possible. I mean, it's a very rough calculation, but I managed to get a very stable 500 signs per minute base with 1-2 trains. So I should be able to get a 1000 signs per minute base with 1-4 trains, especially because I was using LTN, so I had all the trains coming from all the way to the left, as opposed to them coming in wherever they're being loaded. So this should reduce the traffic by quite a bit. Yeah, you can see this water train is gonna have to wait for quite some time now, because as long as there's continuous trains coming in, this is not gonna be allowed to start. But that's better than it holding up 10 more trains, I guess. Okay, I think that's all I have for today. I'm gonna, as I said, attach a time lapse of this particular place here and see how this goes. And yeah, maybe a few last words about plans. I have a, I think, very nice idea that I'm gonna make a separate video about probably today. I've played around a little bit yesterday, and yeah, I have something in mind that I want to start and try building, but more on that in another video. I still have this mod idea that I was talking about a while ago. I don't know how soon I'm gonna start working on this. Currently I don't really feel like getting into this, because it's gonna be a lot of work and a lot of things that I'm not really comfortable with yet. But yeah, the idea is still there, and I do want to do it eventually. I just have no idea when. Yeah, about this, I think there's gonna be one more episode if or when everything is stable, which is probably gonna take a few more days, and I don't know how much time I'm gonna have, but yeah, probably like next week. And yeah, I might do a little showcase video of this for those of you who didn't watch the whole messy series. It's gonna be a bit harder to present than the Joseph base, I guess, because, well, ribbon bases always look a little shitty, and I'm not gonna have an AI narrate. Well, maybe I'm gonna ask Joseph to narrate the video. I'll see. Okay, anyway, thanks for watching, and maybe see you next time.